What's happening, you guys? It's the Cassius Show. Thanks for tuning in to episode 189 of the podcast. Taking a trip down memory lane. It seems to be a theme lately with my most recent shows. So for anybody who doesn't know exactly what's going on here or what Creatures of the Net is after reading the title, let me just bring you guys up to speed. A lot of people know, most people who follow me probably know that I started doing this when I was super young. And before I was that reporter kid online or anything like that doing my solo stuff, this all started with a podcast called Creatures of the Net, which I originally started with co-host Saphire Tillmon, who was 14 at the time from Chicago, Illinois. And we met over MySpace. We were both Kiss fans, relatively around the same age. She was older than me. I was around 9.5, 10 at the time. It's crazy to even think about. We connected and we ended up starting this podcast and ended up getting a lot of steam with it, gaining a lot of steam with it, and eventually interviewing Bruce Kulick himself from Kiss. We interviewed Lydia Criss, who is Peter Criss's ex-wife and a Kiss-related author. We interviewed a ton of people from the Kiss world and slowly clawed and worked our way up to getting just a shred of recognition from anybody remotely related to Kiss. This was really the beginning of everything I do now and everything I'm setting out to do. And it's a piece of my life that I cherish, a chapter that I'll never forget. And I'm super thankful for everybody that made it happen, whether you supported the show, whether you called the show, whether you joined one of the contests, talked about us on a message board. We were just a couple of kids busting our asses who really didn't think anybody would care or take a second to listen. And it's really beautiful what it ended up becoming, and I cherish every second of it. I want to thank everybody who's been checking it out from the beginning, man. You know, off the top of my head, Nate Reeder, Chris Karam, Gary Schaller, Ken Mills, Matt Porter, Tom Williams, Neil Guido, Austin Peppers. You know, there's so many people. I'm not forgetting any of you guys. This is off the top of my head. You know, Remington Scott. These are all people who are really names that I'll always remember. And the original OG community. And I love you guys so goddamn much. It's from the bottom of my heart. And I just really wanted to do this as my way of showing you that I say thank you. Thank you for sticking by me. Thank you for ever giving me a chance to talk my shit, jump on here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that. Just for the record, I want to be 100% clear about something. When you hear me talking about my changing perception of Kiss over the years, you have to understand that when I was a kid, my obsession with Kiss, dare I say, could rival somebody who's been following the band from the beginning. Every aspect of my life was engulfed with Kiss. So when I say that my relationship with the band is different, I really love the band. I listen to the band frequently. But I guess all I was trying to express is that it does not engulf every aspect of my life anymore. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Doesn't mean I don't love them. Doesn't mean I don't see them every time they come to town, because I do. This is sort of just a look at how you like and love something when you're a child, and when you retain that, how it changes when you become an adult. I think it's interesting. I think it's something worth talking about because it is a real part of the human condition and it's a part of life. Couple quick notes before we jump into it. The Cassius Morris Show has a new Instagram page. It's at Cassius Show. Go and check it out for all types of exclusive content that will only be available on that feed. We're trying to grow that and be posting more frequently about the stuff that's going on with the podcast. So make sure to go check it out. Also, go on YouTube and make sure to subscribe to Cassius Morris Clips, which is the second channel we have running now for the clips. We already have some from a couple years ago. They're doing well, but we're going to start putting the new clips out there because we're doing really good with the new clips. And I'm trying to build up a second channel for that. So definitely go subscribe. Cassius Morris Clips, also known as my second channel on YouTube. And without further ado, a thank you, a reunion, a token of appreciation Here's my conversation with Saphire Tillmon. And we're joined by the ultimate special guest. I would say a very special guest, but the ultimate special guest, Saphire Tillmon. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. A reunion of epic proportions. I think it's like 7 years since we were on the air together.
I can't believe it's been that long.
That's crazy.
And like, even so, you were like a wee tyke, and I'm like,
and you were always a couple years older.
yeah, gosh. I mean, how old are you now? If you don't mind me asking.
21,
You're
and I'll be 22
21?
in November. How old are you?
Okay, well, I just turned 25 in June. So I
Right
wonder
on.
how, I remember you told me that you have listeners from way back in the day that are still listening too, and if they remember me, woohoo!
Oh, they remember you. I mean, when I posted
Oh,
that I had a surprise for Kiss fans, a lot of people sent me messages or even commented like Creatures of the Net reunion, and then that sort of got me the idea. You know what? Let's do it.
such a good idea. Oh, I'm so nervous. It's been forever. I talk a lot, so if I keep going, just please let me know.
That's what we want. That's what we want. So maybe we should take them back to the beginning because
Yes.
I remember that we met on MySpace, and my biggest memory is your username being Lady Space, correct?
Yeah, it was Lady Space and Ace.
Do you have any memories of that MySpace community or those days?
Yes, because that was the first social media platform I ever signed up on, and of course it was in my peak Kiss fan era. You know what I mean? You know when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, man, I'm Kiss fan for life. I'll never change. This is gonna be
Never.
me
I'd
forever.
get the tattoo if I could legally.
Right? It's like, yeah, even when I was a kid, I'm like, yo, man, I'm gonna get a Kiss tattoo. Now that I'm older, I'm like, I'm kind of glad I didn't do that just cause I was just so young, and I'm like,
Me too.
But anyways, yeah, no, I remember I was still living with my parents back in Illinois. I was about 14 years old. Yeah, no, I remember I had like a little desktop computer. Remember desktop
Yeah,
computers?
remember those old machines?
The big old, yeah, what, you know what I mean? I had a Dell, whatever, and we just, had my headphones, whatever. I was in my kitchen. I don't know if we ever had any like video footage. I think it was just the audio back then, but like I have old pictures and stuff if you want me to send you of
Oh,
me
please.
actually, like I have old captions from like I took from MySpace. I'm like recording COTN and like old pictures of me, and yeah, man, it was a good time. Long time ago.
That's so crazy. No, it was so much fun, and I genuinely did meet some people who I consider lifelong friends through this community. I mean, yourself, my friend Justice Sanford, who actually ended up living on the East Coast when I was there, and then we ended up meeting. We were about the same age difference as you and I, and we ended up
Oh
meeting and becoming friends in person.
my
Um,
gosh.
have you met any other people who you still keep in touch with from the early Kiss days?
Oh man. Honestly, I think the only person I don't know. I think you remember him. You remember Den Augustados?
Definitely.
Yeah, he dresses up as Paul Stanley and does charity events and stuff.
Yeah.
I on and off with him. Ken Mills. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
remember that guy. Yeah.
Podcast, absolutely.
Yep, him. Yeah, Ken Mills. Yeah, still chatting with him here and there. Yeah, everybody else just kind of either fell off the social media world and kind of lose contact with a lot of people. Sad.
Yeah, no, it's true. And it's interesting because Kiss is sort of a fun thing. So I think when people sort of have those life changes or have things going on, it's kind of harder to be super invested in the Kiss unless you are younger.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
that seems to make sense to me. What are some of your first memories of discovering Kiss? Was Kiss in the family for you?
Go figure. Funny story. I've never told anybody this. So, when I was, oh God, it's weird because I'm like, it's weird to say that I'm in my mid 20s now, and then I'm like, oh, I have to go back, a decade or so, and it's like, oh man, it was a while ago. I remember I was in 8th grade, so that means I was 12 or 13 years old, and that was a bit ago.
Yeah.
And I was at my grandparents' house, and I was supposed to be doing a endangered species project, which I was doing research on the snow leopard. Uh, Fun fact. And then I remember I saw Kiss on like the old Family Guy episodes from like the early 2000s and stuff. And I used to watch them when they were like special guests on like Mad TV and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're kind of cool looking. So let me look it up. So then instead of working on my stupid project, I literally binged watched all the music, looked up all the pictures of Kiss. I watched wow, what's the movie they did? The Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park.
Yeah, the Phantom, definitely.
Yep, and I watched that on YouTube because I didn't know anything about bootlegging anything yet.
Did you watch it in like part 1, part 2, or was it all in one?
All in parts on YouTube before
Of
they
course.
got flagged and taken down for copyright.
Yeah, seriously, I can't find that anymore.
So I actually have like the Kissology. I might actually just watch the movie for the heck of it later.
I was thinking about watching it because I was watching some clips with my sister, and now that like I'm actually older and I'm not a kid, I'm like, I was watching the part where they're fighting with the snow animals at the roller coaster. I'm like, this is the most ridiculous. Who paid for this movie?
Right? And like when they're fighting like they're like robot doubles or whatever, I swear the person that Ace was fighting was freaking Steven Aerosmith.
Steven Tyler?
Steven Tyler. He looked just like Steven Tyler.
Oh
and Ace Frehley make. I swear, when I was a kid, I'm like,
You're probably going to start a new fan theory here.
Is that you?
This will be on the message boards. So you mostly saw Kiss from movies and TV. I think I was...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was sort of the same because I was aware of Gene Simmons from Family Jewels.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that show too.
Mm-hmm. We did a lot of discussion about that show on our show, and
Yeah,
it actually was a lot of fun. I remember doing that.
Oh yeah, never missed an episode. When DVR was still a thing, you just pre-record the shows and just rewatch them.
Oh my God! I mean, it just brings back so many memories. So let me ask you this: when you were in like the Kiss online community and you're a minor, as I was, were your parents skeptical or like who's this person from Canada trying to reach out to you? Because like my parents had to do some vetting to make sure everything was cool on your side.
Oh, absolutely. See, my parents are pretty chill folks. Like, I feel like my mom, especially my mom, was very trusting of me as a kid, right? Like, she's like, oh, you know what? I trust that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they even like met you a couple times, you know. So yeah, they did. I was like, yo, I'm gonna do a podcast with this kid named Cassius, and it's gonna be great, whatever. And then like my family's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. This is gonna be so good for you. And I'm like, okay.
And so they were supportive from the jump.
Oh yeah, very, very, very supportive. And then because my family is very eclectic, right? You know, we're very open-minded individuals. There's no judgment here, there, whoever's obsessed with what. If as long as you're having a good time and you're not doing any bad stuff, you're Gucci.
You're all
So
good.
that's kind of how they were. Yeah. Grew up with a whole bunch of everything, so respected a lot of stuff. So it was pretty cool.
That's really cool. So
Yeah.
in terms of Kiss, like for memories growing up, did you get to see Kiss? I think you did in Chicago, right?
I did. So my first Kiss concert, I was 15 years old.
Okay.
I was in my tomboy stage, so I'm like, yeah, I'm like this cool, rugged rockhead, man. So like, I was, I dressed up in Gene Simmons makeup. I remember I have photos, and my dad took me to Chicago, and we saw their, was it Sonic Boom? I think it was their Sonic Boom tour.
Either that or the hottest show on earth.
Yes, you're right. It was the
Okay.
hottest show on earth. Was that first? Did that come out first?
That I can't remember. It was like either it was the year before or after.
I can't remember. It was either way. It was one of those two because I saw both those. Exactly. I saw both those shows. I saw the first one in Chicago, and then I saw the one in Tinley Park where I took my entire family, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at that, a whole family of Kiss fans," and it's like they don't realize I brought them here. It was all me. My siblings fell asleep during the concert. Like we got lawn seats, and like I'm like, what? They fell asleep. I'm like, woohoo, and everyone was like me. But they had fun nonetheless. So.
No, I mean, some people are like that. I think my friend in the 5th grade said he fell asleep at Alice Cooper. I was like, how do you fall asleep when there's a guy in a fake guillotine? Like,
I'm like, I can't look away. How can you?
Seriously.
Like, hey man, let me just catch some Z's.
Yeah. Oh my God. I remember, you know, we actually ended up getting pretty far with the Kiss stuff because at that point we were trying to interview Eric Singer.
That's right.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
it wasn't working out at the time, but we did end up landing Bruce Kulick.
Yes.
Oh my
gosh. Now that you say that, because I remember, as sad as it may sound, though, the one interview that really stuck out was we also interviewed Lydia Chris.
Yes, Lydia Chris. Oh my gosh, that was funny.
I actually really enjoyed that one. It was really good. Wow, Bruce Kulick. Is it sad that I forgot all about that?
Well, the thing I remember most from that one is literally, I think, making a video holding like the Kiss Asylum CD on webcam during the interview. And I was like pointing at it like, I'm on the phone with that guy, like making a video during the interview. I'm like, Jesus, man, like
this is
they
great.
don't let kids do it.
Right? And like, wow, because my goodness. And I love Bruce Kulick, and it's so sad how like, I couldn't even tell you what I remember talking about.
Well, I mean, you know, that's the thing. It gets tough to remember some of the specific things.
Right?
I do remember we brought up Animalize Live Uncensored, the DVD.
Okay, yeah.
And he goes, how old are you guys? I was
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, I was like, we're 10 and like 14. And he's like, and you guys do Animalize Uncensored. That is something else. He was surprised by that.
Surprise.
I remember that. The Lydia Chris one was, sorry, what's that?
Oh, no, I was going to say, we were wise beyond our years, so we knew, we just happened to be young. We were just, old souls and little bodies, so we understood what it was, But...
Oh my God, yes. Did you
hear that?
I did hear that. We have a presence in the room.
Motorcyclists, I swear, we live right on the street, so if you hear that, I'm sorry.
It's okay. City Central, we're getting it going.
I know, right? But the Lydia Chris?
Yeah, Lydia, the Lydia Chris interview was so funny because at that time, she was bigger than life to me, at least. Like, she was a celebrity. Like, this is Lydia Chris. It's just funny how you adjust. I mean, I'm so very grateful for the time. But it's just listening to that now. It's like we were so nervous, and I mean, we were kids.
Oh my God. I know, because we were talking about her book, Sealed with a Kiss, and she said that she did majority of the photography on there, and I'm like, oh my God, photography! I want to be a photographer, and then
that was why you connected with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember that her and I kind of went on a tangent about camera work and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is great. We're connecting.
Yes. No, that's really cool. See that's a part that I don't really remember. I love how like we both remember certain things. That's really funny. I'm thinking about the first interview we did. Do you remember that one?
Our first interview, was it with a celebrity? Because I remember we had Den on. Was Den our first interview? Like ever?
He was one of them. It was the artist. His last name is escaping me, but his first name was Chris, who did the Kiss Monopoly cover.
Oh my God, I don't remember.
It's okay. No, it's so funny. That was our first interview ever, and we had so much technical troubles, and we were like trying to get him to hang on the line. We were like, just give us a minute. And it was about 10 minutes, and he goes, do you want me to just call you guys back? He goes, I'm free. He goes, just call me back when you have it fixed.
Aww.
And I was like, okay, I really appreciate that. And he was like, it's no problem at all. And then we called him back, and he told us the whole story of how meanwhile, I mean, this is just an artist who got contracted to do a Kiss drawing.
Yeah.
But he humored us, and I always thought that was so nice because that's how bad we wanted somebody from the Kiss world.
Right? And he's like, oh, these kids, they're so cute. Of course. Take your time.
Exactly. No, it's just, I think it's crazy that, starting from that and then leading into the things that have happened recently, like with having talked to Gene, like anytime I've interviewed any of the guys from Kiss, I always am thinking of you, really, because like we started in this together, and like, it was so crazy that like it was like another young crazy Kiss fan that like can understand, first of all, the love for the band, and two, like wanting to get the word out.
Absolutely. And I always felt, okay, I never told you this before, but like I felt like you always took the reign of everything anyhow. So like this was your baby. and I was kind of like, okay, I'll join in too, yay. But like you did everything. Like that was all you, man. So
No,
this
I
is all
appreciate.
you, baby.
I've always loved it, but I mean, you're a very integral piece of it, and it's just
Oh, thanks.
crazy, like even just thinking about it, like talking to Gene, it was freaking me out because all those times that we're talking to somebody who's even this close to Gene, and we're
Hmm.
freaking out,
That's very true.
It's unbelievable. Are there any other things that you sort of remember that trigger a memory for you?
Oh man, let's see. Because I was actually trying to go down memory lane not too long ago when you first messaged me about wanting to do this. And then I was like, yeah, the moment we talked to Lydia, memory lane, anything that really jumps out. My goodness.
It's hard to think of specific
Isn't
moments because
it?
it was like a journey in and of itself type of thing.
Right. And okay, so like I remember like even when I was a young kid, I have a really hard, well, okay, this is maybe on a technical side, not so much as like doing the interviews with other people, you know what I mean? Like I'm a control freak, but I also have a very bizarre attention span. So like even trying to get on a schedule for things, like trying to do the podcast, it was so hard for me to do.
Right.
I don't know why it was so complicated. Uh so I guess that's one thing that really stuck out because I always felt bad because you were so punctual and on schedule and on track on everything, and I'm just it seems like I come off as flighty, but I'm not. I
No.
have ADHD, so I'm like, oh, well, now it makes sense that I couldn't seem to get myself on board and stay on track with to get on your level of things. You know what I mean? If that's something that
No, no, I
your question that
totally.
if that answers your question.
No, it does, and that's interesting because I've actually thought about the same thing over the years, and one of the things
Yeah.
that I realized having gotten older and having new perspective is that
Mhm.
the jump from 12 to like 14 or 15 is huge,
Yes,
and you have so much going on in your life, and you're experiencing real life things and
exactly.
new relationships and this and that, and the interesting thing is that I actually went through that a bit when I was 14, 15.
Hmm.
I got my first girlfriend, and that was the end of the podcast for 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah, dude, straight up. Oh gosh, I was probably just starting high school. So then, yeah, that makes sense. Now that you're putting into perspective like that,
Exactly. That's the
I'm
thing,
like,
right? And of course
I'm
I was
like,
punctual. Where else was I going to be? I was a 12-year-old kid who was at school, you know what I mean? And like
right.
and I had a childhood that was, it was very easy for me to just sort of stay positive in the early parts of it. I really didn't
Right.
experience much till I was a teen, so it just makes perfect sense. But I was never upset by that, or I was
Mhm.
never had any issue with that. It was just simply a fact of that we were at different points in life, and it was okay, and yeah, it's totally cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, gosh. I was because even at that point, I was starting to, because when you're a kid and you're obsessing over something, and like I said before, you're like, this is my life. This is what I'm going to do forever. And then like once you reach that weird age, it just kind of happens. You don't even remember transitioning into it. Started
Yeah.
high school, started getting into, experimenting what my other in-depth interests are, right? That can be personal, that can be external, like I was getting into a lot of fine arts. I was getting more indulged in different broad ranges of music. I was experimenting with my sense of self, you know what I mean? Trying to
Everything.
everything. It was just a flood of like, oh my God, what do I do?
Exactly. Yeah. No, and I mean it's so natural, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, I kind of found that I lost like the passion for Kiss that was so visceral. But I'm almost happy with it because I love the way that it's come back. Like now Kiss is always like in the back of my mind as just a part of my life, and like it's not something that I really obsess over. It's just something that
Mm,
I
okay.
think of, and it makes me happy. You know what I mean?
Right. Right, right. That's that, and I think that was my problem though too. I was so engulfed and obsessed with it, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I need to step back a little bit.
Yeah.
Chill out. And it's no hate to anybody who are just like, oh yes, kiss.
Yeah.
It's people change, you know. I
No,
mean, it's
exactly.
cliche as that sounds. It's like it's true.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those things do become cliche because they're true, and I mean, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I've been through it with TV shows, I've been through it with different bands, and it comes and goes to varying levels, and there's nothing wrong with any of it. But
Absolutely.
I think yeah, it's a good point that you made. Like sometimes you can be too close to it,
Hmm.
especially when you're like, then you start to meet the guys and stuff. It's like you don't want to be too close to it. Like I used to be a huge fan of the rapper Wiz Khalifa, and I was like wearing his T-shirts and listening
That's
to his
great.
music, yeah, 24/7. And I really wanted to interview him, and I got close, but I realized if I would have interviewed him at that time, it would have been, it just would have been a fan freaking out.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
feel that. I
yeah,
I really do. And like, I don't know if you have much left, but I got rid of a lot of my Kiss collection.
really.
I sold almost everything.
Wow.
Literally the only things that I kept was remember the Kiss compendium where it had
Oh
all the
my
Kiss comics.
God.
I have that. I'm like, I am not letting this go. The comics in there are so good. Even
Yeah,
the Psycho Circus comics, if y'all have not read those yet, perfection.
beautiful.
Beautiful comics. I've got I reread them so many times. I have the Kissologies. I don't want to get rid of those.
No.
I have my first Kiss Alive 2 t-shirt, like my first t-shirt I ever got. I kept that. And then I have like my little stack of Kiss records that I have. I don't want to get
Nice.
like, and those are like the small little minute things where I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep those. Those are great. Like I
Hmm.
got rid of I used to have Kiss shoes. Kiss shoes. I had to get clothes, hoodies. I had the figurines, trading cards, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? It's just time to let those go. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I
No,
mean
totally.
now my aesthetic is more gothic clown. I mean, I collect like Jester dolls and stuff. Like it's just an eclectic of dark stuff. Motorcycles. I swear.
There they are again. They're coming through. But yeah, in terms of the collection, I don't actively display much.
Okay.
Actually, what you see behind me is really the only stuff I really have on display.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of stuff in boxes just because my family's able to hang on to it. But if they were ever not able to hang on to a lot of the stuff, I wouldn't really have a choice but to sell it.
Would you have a tough time getting like rid of it?
Yeah, a lot of it I would. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I became sentimentally attached to so many different things because
Mm,
it was all one collection.
yep.
So it's almost like I swear I need an episode of Kiss Hoarders for my my boxes downstairs. Like I
You're
don't know what's
not
going on.
even joking.
I'm not even joking. Like, but some of it I don't want to get rid of. It's like I
Dang,
have the
dude.
world's largest Kiss comic book, but it's like that takes up so much space.
Yep. It's so hard. It was so hard for me to get rid of all that stuff because I myself have a really bad hoarder problem, and I cried.
Wow.
I'm like, yo, man, I have to purge. I have to let some of this stuff go, and it went to somebody who was like a huge Kiss fan. I'm like, you know what? Here's all this for $50. Just take it.
Wow. You gave him
And
a
so
good bundle.
I really did. And you know, it's fine. It went into good hands. People who weren't just gonna like throw it, like literally my stuff was in boxes as well. And it's like, you know what? I'll give it to somebody who will give it some TLC instead of it being like all locked up, because I have to repurge my house again because all I want to do is hold on to things because everything has a sentimental value to me. And like I have to get through that barrier within myself. You know what I mean? It's hard though. It's so hard to do. So
Yeah.
if you're willing to get rid of your stuff, I commend you because that's a huge step. It's hard to
Seriously.
do.
No, oh my gosh. No, it is. Yeah, some of it will definitely go. And there's certain things too that I have like some of them I have two or three of, like two or three of the
Yep.
same doll or stuff like that.
Yep.
So it's like, at a certain point it gets crazy, but I would love to pass it to someone who would really love it because I don't know if this ever happened to you. But I ended up meeting a couple really good Kiss collectors in my city when I was young at that time, and they really hooked me up with deals just like you did with that person. They gave me really nice stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See,
I
and
don't
then
know if that ever
you can
happened to you.
no, well, no, actually. Excuse me. I know a gentleman. I forgot what his store was called. Huge Kiss fan. So I live in Phoenix. There's a city about 20 minutes from here called no, actually no, he moved. He was in Mesa, now he's in Chandler. He had to like downsize his shop, and like it's a record shop, right?
Hmm.
But he's a huge Kiss fan. He I'll send the link when I find it to you, and you can like check out his shop and stuff. It's really cool. Yeah, guy's super nice. I went there, visited him, super nice guy. And then, his wife passed away, and so he had to downsize his shop. But he had to Kiss things every. He had standees. He had photos, countless photos of him with like various Kiss members and stuff. And like he would tell me all his life stories. He's from Chicago too, and I was like, oh hey, we're already connected.
Nice.
We already bonded. But no, he said that if I had anything that I was willing to sell to him, or if anything that he wanted to sell to me, he would give me like a good deal, just because I was just a young person that was like, yeah, Kiss. And he's like, I'll
Yeah.
hook you up. But I never went back.
Hey, no, I mean, again, life happens, right? Like you get
Right.
these opportunities, and sometimes,
I'm like, oops, sorry, dang.
No, I love that though, because that's when I was talking to my sister, because my sister has been really like tripped out at the fact that I interviewed Ace, like especially on video. Like
Hmm.
like the whole family is sort of just getting a kick out of it. And when I think of Kiss in the past and like all the joy, I just think of the little moments. Like I don't
Mm.
think even of the big concerts as much or things like that. I think more of like the laughs that you and I had on the calls before and after the podcast, or like
Oh my
the yeah
God.
like, or the guy at the record shop, hooking it up like you say. So I feel like that is something that this band has. It has this sense of community that just
Mm.
it creates something else out of it. I don't know if you know what I mean, if that makes sense, but
I totally get it. Trust me. You're hitting nails on the head.
preaching to the choir.
Preaching to the choir, man.
Exactly. Well, I'm just so happy that we got to catch up. I mean, I really wanted to do this. I really wanted to show people that we're here and that we're able to reconnect. And I wanted to
Yeah.
give people a chance to let them know what you've been up to lately, like what's Sapphire doing now, and sort of post Creatures of the Net.
Well, I've grown a lot, I suppose. Moved out, I'm no longer in Illinois. I don't know if I stated this already. Now I'm in Arizona. Went to school for film. I've been to school. I completed about 3 years, so technically I have an associate's degree.
Mm.
But mental health stuff hit the fan, and I couldn't finish it. I literally had like a semester and a half of school. If I would have stuck through it, I probably would have been able to, be working on film sets. But knowing all the scary stuff that happens in Hollywood, it's not really worth.
Yeah, that's an ever changing world in and of itself.
Exactly, that's hard. So then, so I went to school. I met my loving lover, Roberto. We've been together for over 5 years now. So now we live in Central Phoenix. Since a lot of crazy stuff's been going on, and I decided to get more into cosplays and stuff. Like I know how to make props. I know how to make
Yes.
costumes. Worked conventions. I worked at a maid cafe, like those Japanese maid cafes.
We don't have
I
those here,
worked
but
at
I've
those.
seen those online.
Exactly, right. And so we have and they're like small, like little traveling ones, not a set restaurant, but we worked conventions and stuff. And then, about 2 years ago, I decided to open up my own little candle shop. Ha ha, plug in.
Hey, beautiful.
And it's so I collect. I love porcelain dolls, masks. I have them everywhere. Freaks some people out, but whatever. So that's my aesthetic, right? It's gothic elegance, basically, which is kind of what I live for now, anyway.
Yes.
So my little place is, or my little candle shop, excuse me, is called Porcelain Wick. I only have an Etsy shop. I don't have an LLC just yet. That stuff's expensive. But yeah, I got in touch with a good friend of mine to make the logo. She took the likings of my face and designed my logo in a mask form. So I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that.
My
That looks
color
really
scheme
cool.
is, thank you. My color scheme is black, burgundy, and gold, rich, elegant colors and stuff. And I make candles. Yeah, this one's an autumnal. This one's like one of my popular ones. Smells really good. Let me just, yeah.
It looks
Um,
like it smells good.
yeah, thank you. If you like, and that's the thing. I like doing unique overalls, and I'm not hating on people who are like, hey, I have a lavender candle and then just call it lavender. Like I want to like entice people with my titles, even though it may have some basic fragrances, or I do like my own mixtures though, but like I want to like if someone like looked at a name called like autumnal, they'd be like, ooh, that's nice.
Definitely.
So I make 9-ounce candles. I make wax melts in the shape of roses. They come in black or red colors. Um, I also make cold processed soaps, which is a huge process. But yeah, I've had a couple hundred orders and stuff. It was very successful for a little while until about last year when I worked uh, a little booth trying to sell my stuff, and I swear on my soul I contacted COVID from somebody
Mm,
who was buying from me. So like for the longest time I wasn't able to run my shop. So it kind of goes on and off sometimes. Um,
right.
in terms of like, mental stability, right? Trying to keep on top of it's a really competitive, it's really
Market?
hard to keep up with. Yeah, competitive
Yeah.
market. It's really hard to keep up because it's like what's gonna make you stand out, you know what I mean? And it's like not one thing is truly original, you know what I mean? So you have to try and bend it to how you are
For
somehow, if that
sure.
makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's really complicated. But I have a lot of good friends and family that buy from me, so that's pretty cool. I'm sorry, I go on a tangent sometimes, so if that doesn't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense to me, and obviously people want to know. I mean, it's only been, six, seven some years. So I mean, I think by the way, where can people find the website? You got to
Oh
let them
yes.
know.
So I do have an Etsy shop. So literally it's www.etsy.com/shop/porcelainwick.
Boom.
Boom.
And we'll put a link in the description of the audio and video if anybody wants to go check that
Yeah.
out. I'm sure you guys will love it. Sapphire, is there anything else you want to add? This has been I mean, a delight for me.
Oh gosh, sometimes when people ask me questions, I get put on the spot and I'm like, I don't know. So for right now, honestly, I really don't know, other than I missed you tons and it was great talking with you, my guy.
Definitely. Yeah, likewise. And yeah, this just brought back so many memories. And just thanks for taking the time. And I'm glad to see you doing well, doing your thing.
Thank you. So good to see you doing your magic stuff too, my guy.
And there you have it. A reunion of epic proportions, as I think I stated off the top of this episode, with the OG queen of Kiss podcasting, Saphire Tillmon. So great to see her doing well. So great to see her at a stage in her life where it really seems like she's coming to her own. It really seems like she's comfortable with herself and her interests. And it's really nice to see. And it just puts a huge smile on my face. As you guys could probably tell, this meant a lot to me to have this go down on the podcast. So thank you again to Saphire for participating. If you want to stay up to date with the show, make sure to subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Cassius Morris and the Cassius Morris Clips page, the second channel. Follow me on Instagram at Cassius Show and at Cassius Morris _. Twitter at Cassius Show, Facebook.com/Cassius Show. Shoot me an email, cassiusbusiness@gmail.com. And make sure to subscribe on all of our audio platforms, whether you're listening right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, wherever you're choosing to have this come inside of your mind that maybe didn't sound exactly how I wanted it to. Make sure you click the subscribe button and leave a rating/review. That's probably the most important thing to get the rankings up. So click that ratings button, smash that 5-star. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, this is Cassius Morris saying, rock on.